If you have people in your company who are like, that'll never work. We tried that 6 months ago. It didn't work. It won't work now. You have to be careful because it can. Things can actually change. You need to be able to go try things again just because the technology is better. From a capability standpoint, we might already be worse than AI today, and whether humans will be able to hold on to that as a differentiator. So what we're left with is courage, and courage is about human agency. Are you going to wake up and want to do things? In this world where everybody can manage agents, what will matter will be whether you have the courage to go build new things. So I'm Akshay Kothari. I'm one of the co-founders of Notion. So Notion is a connected workspace. We thought we could give the world all the software building blocks and allow anybody in this world to put those things together to create software. We have really become the AI workspace, giving you the capability to not just build software, but also to hire AI dream team to do your work. Notion passed 100 million users last year. We're an extremely global company. 80% of our usage is outside the US. A lot of it is actually right here in South Korea. My introduction to AI was back in 2008. Even back in 2008, I think people were extremely optimistic about all the ways it can impact our lives. I was a master's student at Stanford. I enrolled myself into, I think it was called CS 221, which was Introduction to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. It was taught by Professor Andrew Ng. One of the first projects I did, we started this thing called ZenMail, and it was essentially trying to give you a voice email. And the idea we had was that people are spending so much time in the car driving, and we thought maybe that time could be spent by listening to your emails and being able to respond to them. Of course, back then the machine translated voice and the transcription was all pretty bad, and so this idea sort of fell off. The funny part is a lot of things that we were trying to do then, the algorithms we had, the approach we had, are actually very similar to what we're trying to do even today. But of course, a lot has changed, right? There's a lot more compute power, there's a lot more data, research that has gone into it. The question is are we going to continue to be on that exponential power? Are we going to see the same rate of change this year, next year, as we've seen compared to last year? A lot of people feel like we will see that GPT-5 and GPT-6 and all these things will continue to be on that same rate of change. But there's actually increasingly other side too, where people feel like, well, all the bets around, all of the things that we think were logical are already done. And so getting this next order of magnitude change in it being better may be harder than we think. Regardless of where we are on that curve, one thing is very clear. Even if the models were frozen to where they are today, I think they're going to have just incredible impact in how we work. One of the things I think that's super interesting is that things are converging in an interesting way on the human side too. If you think about a manager of people in terms of what a manager does today, that part probably still exists, but now the manager can actually become an individual contributor. I'm starting to see more and more managers who are realizing that they can actually go build things, that they can go design things. And then the flip side is happening too. If you talk to the people who are most advanced in AI, they have gone from being an individual contributor, just instead of coding, they have now become manager of agents. This idea that managers are now individual contributing and individual contributors are now becoming managers and things are converging there is really interesting. And we're still in the very early innings of that transformation. I think vast majority of people are using it as a one-off tool. They haven't changed their workflows materially. Talking about AI as less as a tool, but more as a team of agents that can actually help you do things, and not as a one-off question and answer, but more a back and forth. How do you manage a person who reports to you today? It's very different. You don't just ask a question, get an answer and move on. You sort of brainstorm with them. You actually work with them. You actually push them a little bit here and there to figure out, am I getting the best possible output? In some ways, AI is this patient teacher that is willing to take infinite questions. Essentially, you can ask it to teach you things. You can keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And the limiting factor is basically curiosity and whether you have more questions, because it never gets tired. I had this interesting example around a healthcare company essentially using AI voice to talk to patients. Initially, you would think that that's a bit robotic, it's less human. But turns out that this patient, I heard one of these calls where the patient is not just talking about their health condition, but they're also talking talking about their grandkids and what happened yesterday. And AI is happily, patiently hearing all of these things and making a connection, which I think is really remarkable. I think we're living in this golden age where the constraints are just your curiosity, your agency, but you can go learn and do things that were probably pretty hard to even imagine that you'd consider that. Even 5 years ago, I'm not sure if that was the case. A lot of companies are positioning themselves as artificial general intelligence, AGI. And AGI, I feel like the feeling is a little bit like the robots are better than humans. Like we won't need humans. Like it can do all of it. We can replace humans. I think Notion comes at it slightly from a viewpoint that Douglas Engelbart, one of the computing pioneers, had, which is not AGI, but it's actually AHI. And AHI is augmenting human intelligence, where we feel very strongly that humans will flourish in this new age. And AI can really augment that intelligence they have. We can really help people do more. There's this old concept of bicycle for the mind that Steve Jobs came up with. In many ways, AI feels like we could be building cars for the mind. And the human mind is very much core to how we build products. And we think our value to the world is that we're going to try to build products that are very humane. We're building for human first. We're building for humans being able to do more through agents. One of the ways I've been thinking about is like, what is the place for humans and what makes us differentiated? And I actually feel like there's this concept of like capability. Humans have craft and humans have courage. From a capability standpoint, like we might already be worse than AI today. If I give AI all the context of what I know, like it makes better decisions than I can. Then there's a question of craft and taste and whether humans will be able to hold on to that as a differentiator. And you can make a good case that I think taste will matter more, and taste is very hard and it may not be something, AI can pick up. But you can also make the case that maybe it will be able to pick it up, if it has enough memory and if it has enough context, know-how, it can produce tasteful things also. And so what we're left with is courage. And courage is about human agency. And it's about, are you going to wake up and want to do things? In this world where everybody can manage agents, what will matter will be whether you have the courage to go build new things. If the manager has these incredibly high agency people who think of all the different ways we could be making progress and all the different things that we could be building, they will prefer humans over that. If you think about anything that you were deeply good at, and maybe there's all these other things that you didn't have enough knowledge about or you didn't feel confident about, now you can actually tap into all of that. I see that even inside Notion today, right? Even inside Notion, we have designers who are able to code, and we have engineers who are able to design, and we have PMs who can actually do both of those. If you think about the activation energy that it requires to go build things or to like learn about something or put your ideas to execution, it's like couldn't be a better time. There is literally no reason for you to not take an idea in your head and go build something that is ready in a couple of minutes for you to play with. Will that be a product that you can go be an entrepreneur with? I don't know, but I think the fact that you can take an idea to a prototype so quickly is incredible. The core philosophy that Notion has had is really that you can build a lot of it into a singular tool. Even in this new product, we have consolidated a lot of the use cases you'd have to buy 10 different tools for into a single place. And the fact that you have this context that is shared for the doc you write, for the task you have, for the project you're building, for the meeting you have, makes it so much smarter. Because at the end of the day, like all the models are commoditizing. What's making the answer different is the context you give it. And Notion has a ton of context about the docs you've written, the workspace content you have, and also the internet context. So Notion AI for Work we introduced 4 key features. One is we introduced AI meeting notes. Second product we launched is enterprise search. Q&A used to be Q&A on your Notion content, but now we have 10 plus tools, everything from Slack to Google Drive, and you can connect all of them, and it will make sense of all the content and context you give it and give you an incredible answer. The third one is research mode. And then finally, we redesigned Home to give you access to all the chat models. You can now choose whichever model you want in Home. The thing that surprises me always with these releases is you thought that capability exists and so people will just use it, but then the packaging and the naming and the branding is what really unlocks the usage. For a long time, like the ability to connect your Slack and get combined Q&A existed in the product. But I think the awareness of the product inside the product, when you use it, the naming of enterprise search, and then people seeing what they can do with it, those examples, has really multiplied the usage on the product now. It's that classic advice people get, which is, success is not just building the best product. It's also really thinking about distribution. And distribution means that you have to think about the discoverability of the product inside the product. What story are you telling out in the field? And giving, especially with AI, giving people very concrete use cases of what you can do with the product is so critical. Over the last 2 years, this bet we've made internally a couple times, and we don't regret it. We've made these bets to go really big on something where we think, this view of the future, this crazy vision we have is how it'll work. And then we've had to sometimes reduce that vision a bit because the technology is not ready. On the worst days, it feels quite frustrating because we just spent 20 people, 3 months of work, and we just have to start again from this point. But on the best of days, it gives you a true north. It's that we didn't ship that product, but we now see what's possible. And maybe it doesn't work for this model, but 3 months later, it might work. Actually, a lot of the stuff we launched for AI for Work, actually, we had a meeting notes product that we were trying to build a year ago. And we had to shelf it because it was nobody found value in the transcripts. And the summary and the action items was not good enough. And we had to reopen that project a year later to rebuild it, and it worked this time. You sort of need to have you need to be able to go try things again just because the technology is better. If you have people in your company who are that'll never work. We tried that 6 months ago. It didn't work. It won't work now. You have to be careful because it can. Things can actually change. You have to try it again and it might work.